Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's episode of Cliff's Notes. I am super stoked to bring to you today two of my favorite people and top agents, Gary and Linda Bale. You're going to find out how they are crushing it in this crazy market and in the luxury segment coming up right here next on Cliff's Notes. Real estate agents, are you struggling with the day-to-day grind, dialing for dollars, putting in hours of floor time with little to show for it? Are you looking for tips, tricks, and tactics to accelerate your career as an agent that will have you closing more homes, working with more clients, and earning more money than ever before? Hi, my name's Cliff Freeman, and I've spent the past 2 decades of my real estate career running one of the top brokerages in DFW and personally coaching over 1,000 high-performing real estate professionals across North America. I created this podcast to share the strategies and tactics you need to explode your real estate business. I guarantee it. We dropping the guarantees today, ladies and gentlemen, and I would suggest that right now, if you don't have a full pen and a clean 8.5 or 8.5 by 11 or 14 sheet of paper, you're going to hit the writer-downers left and right. They're going to be flying at you today. This couple has an amazing story to share, and you may remember Gary from an episode we did some time ago. Well, now he has reunited with his wife. No, they were never separated except in business. And now they're together and they make one of the most powerful couples in real estate in Dallas. Let's go ahead and bring them on. C3,
yes,
these are some of your best friends, right?
Yeah, we've had some great dinners together and nights out. And not only that, they're also really good at what they do as well.
Yeah, exactly. So you've actually been here to witness, and we know this couple very well, and the changes, the tweaks they've made in their business, and overcoming. And Linda, bless your heart, it's so great to see you here. I mean, you were involved in a really nasty car accident
very scary.
At the end of last year, and you were down and out. In fact, you would just now are getting healed, still working on the shoulder, a little recovery. And we're so glad that you're feeling better, but that really shut your production down for the month of January pretty much all together, didn't it?
It did. The accident happened Thanksgiving weekend.
Thanksgiving weekend, yeah.
I had surgery in January. I didn't drive or do anything until March. So, we're just getting back ramped up, but we were very blessed with our clients that still called and did some listings and worked everything from the comfort of my bedroom.
Wow.
Gary was my feet on the ground.
Yeah.
Actually, I would tell you our business, as we start talking about our business model almost changed into the favor the moment she got in the car accident. So she was in bed and I'm taking care of her and the phone was ringing. I was really busy. I mean, multitasking would be an understatement. I would tell you that was our turning point. When our business really took off. And then by February, she started getting engaged. But there was a few months like, whoa, what's going on?
So you went from the frying pan into the fire. Is that what you're trying to tell us?
Yeah.
They always say, if you want some business, go on vacation.
Yeah.
Well, I would never recommend anyone to get in a car accident, but it definitely did. Yeah. It did jolt us into the business that we're doing, and really, we never thought about being a team. And it really we worked through it. And
yeah.
really
And
well,
for the benefit of the people watching who don't know your history, Gary, you and I have a thread that goes back to the late 80s, man, and mid 80s, back when you were at Soft Warehouse.
Well, it was actually CompUSA. Soft Warehouse was the name before it changed.
That's right.
To
So you actually
CompUSA.
got there after we went
CompUSA,
public.
yes.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's another story, but that's just a great place to start.
Right.
And you and Linda, how long have you been married now?
36 years.
36 years. So if I do my math, you that was prior to you being married to Linda. Yes or no? CompUSA?
No, CompUSA was after.
Yes.
Okay, so right. Okay,
Yeah.
so you...
I came to CompUSA in 93.
93. Okay, that makes perfect sense. Well, we didn't get a chance to meet either. Gary nor Linda, you and I didn't get a chance to meet. I think we were like probably 2 ships passing in the night.
Right.
I was on the investment banking side of that transaction, and you were obviously working in the field, selling and doing that. And then So, but your history in real estate, you guys, Gary, you didn't really get into real estate until after Linda did. Tell us, how did all this happen? How did you get into real estate, Linda?
I had a career in luxury retail and worked for many department stores, and we moved quite a bit with Gary's career. And I was always able to find work, and which was great. But we moved so much; it's kind of like a joke. I became a professional mover. So on our last trip back here, which was 9 years ago now, I just thought I could do this. You know, I've watched all these real estate agents over the years, and I said I found my next career. So I went to school and got trained and started it, and then he started seeing that I was having a lot of fun, because it is a lot of fun. I really do enjoy it. And then Gary went and got his license, and we said that we would never work together. And that's how, when he found you and started working, you know, with your group, I was like, you know, but I've learned never to say never.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if you had told me 5 years ago that I would be selling real estate with my husband, I would have said, no, I don't think so. But it's working. We've really worked through it. It's
Now,
good.
so you kind of got the yin and the yang going on, right? It took you guys a little while to get your rhythm. What was it like at first?
Well, first
when
of all,
First it was rough.
we're both very competitive. Okay, so there's a lot of competition between us. But I would tell you that what we've learned, yes, it was rough in the beginning, and it was rough because I learned I have to stay in my lane of the highway, because when I cross over the lane, I get in trouble. And we had to figure out, I had to figure out my role, my strengths, and stay in my direction and let her run, because we're really different. We have totally different strengths, okay, when you really think about. And that's what we've said all along, is that when we both have incredible strengths that are different, when we bring it together, we think we got a 1-2 punch. And it's already proven out in this part of the year already, not even a year together, how successful we are. And it's a wonderful experience.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, you know, you're heading to 15 million. You've got 3 million, I believe he told us, under contract now. You know, this is one of the toughest markets that we've seen since probably 2008 or 9. There's a difference. There's just a shortage. You know, the circumstances are different. But, you know, we've had 60,000 agents leave the business this year alone, and rates have gone up. I mean, it's tough. How are you guys finding your deals, and how are you getting them done?
Well, we've been great with our sphere of influence, and we have some wonderful friends that have learned we have great friendships with them, but they've also learned how to trust us in business and our taste, and we've been very lucky. I've just entered into starting yesterday, taking a really good friend of ours out, and with him and his family, I think now this will be, because it's a multifaceted deal, this will be our 8th deal with them in a matter of several years. So we really we're very lucky to have that group of people in our lives. They trust us.
So that's a huge rider downer. There's not very many ways to increase your income in this business. One of them is to raise your prices. That's kind of hard to do. It's a very competitive market. Right. The second thing is to bring on more customers, right? Which is, you know, cold calling and building your database up and everything. But the other thing is to get your current customers to buy more frequently from you, whether it's primary residences, investment properties, properties for their kids, whatever it might be. But 8 deals, gosh, if you look at the lifetime, okay, second rider downer, if you look at the lifetime value of that customer, what would you project that the lifetime value of that one customer would be for you guys?
I don't know.
And you're not done with him. You've done 8.
No, and he has children too.
And he has children.
I've done a deal with his daughter too.
Okay.
So, yeah.
It's several hundred thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Several hundreds
several
of thousands of dollars.
Several.
Okay. Linda, how long have you been in the business now?
5 years.
5 years. 5 years.
So
Gary, how long have you been in the business?
3 years.
3 years. Now, you guys thought, those of you watching, thought that they had been in the business probably 20 or 30 years, I bet.
Yeah. And we do get people that think that a lot.
Yes.
And then they're kind of surprised.
Yeah.
But we both have such a strong retail background and customer service background that I think it really lends to this business. And that's what's really worked for us.
You were reading my mind.
Was
That
I?
was my next question.
It's a hidden
right?
talent
How did
I
you
have,
guys
Cliff.
accelerate out of the gate so quickly? Especially Gary. I mean, of course, he was hanging around you. That's an easy answer, right?
Well, that's a lot. That's
a trick question.
Yeah, let me start by explaining. First of all, when I got my license, I sat with my license almost 2 years and didn't take it to a broker because I was watching and listening to my wife be a realtor, and I said, oh my, I could never do what she's doing. She's a rock star. And I knew already she instantly was a rock star, and you should see her today. Like, oh my God, she's Michael Jordan, in my opinion, of real estate.
I paid him.
And it took me 2 years until she finally kicked me in the butt, go find somebody. And we knew that our strategy, she was going to take care of our sphere, okay? So I needed to go engage with somebody that was going to teach me how to be a realtor, get my confidence, and help me get leads. And that's when I engaged with you. And it was the best pick. When I interviewed all people, where did I want to go? When I heard EXP, I didn't even want to take the call. It was a Zoom time, because of COVID or whatever. And my wife said, "What do you got to lose? It's an hour call on the phone. You're not even getting in the car." And I said, "Okay, I'll do it." And I was on board within 30 minutes.
Well, and I remember when you came on board, because you got out of the gate with us like faster than anybody in history.
Right.
I think
I had
your
$1 million.
first year,
I had $1 million in the first 60 days of business, three deals.
I mean, you closed like 9 million your first year, didn't you? Something like
Yeah.
that, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
So you were no slouch by any stretch.
Yeah.
You were
Very determined.
you were crushing it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
but she was
determined.
Still beating me.
That's the competitive
Yeah.
thing in you, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah. Yeah.
But
We
I-
still do that now.
But I would
Yeah.
tell you that what is our secret sauce? The first is that when we talk to our clients, we're more focused that they're going to love us after the experience is more important than anything else. So we don't come off as we're a desperate realtor that we need a commission check.
Commission breath.
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
come off that we want to make the experience so enjoyable that you're going to tell your friends and family. And by doing that, we know the check comes. And the referrals come even more. So even when we were starting off and we didn't have big checks, we always took that approach that we were never desperate. No one felt pressure ever that like we were whining, we didn't close this deal, or why we showed them this house and they didn't make an offer or anything like that. We said, tell us exactly why you don't want this house. Okay, let's move on. It was that simple.
Well, and you shared a little secret with us at lunch, and the key to this business, if you're doing something you really like and you like what you're doing, like real estate, Gary, then it's fun and you don't get tired of it.
Right.
And you have really found your niche in the business. Talk a little bit about how you've developed as someone that really knows how to build rapport and close people on telephone calls.
Yeah, and
That's his strength.
yeah, like I would tell you, it takes a lot of work because let me tell you, everybody has the fear of the telephone, but I finally learned that, first of all, they can't hit you over the phone. They might swear at you, but most likely they're just going to click and hang up. And you just have to realize that you're just looking for the nugget. And there's nuggets out there, but you have to touch a lot of people. You got to talk to a lot of people to find that nugget. And it's a percentage game. So one, you got to get over that the phone is not drudgery, it's an enjoyment. That's a key mindset that has to change. You have to enjoy that experience. Like, dreading, I got to be on the phone. No, you have to change your attitude that, no, they need to hear me because I have something to offer to them in a positive way. Mm-hmm. And when you think that way, your voice and your tone in your conversation is dramatically different. Like I'm smiling on the phone when I'm talking to them, and I think they can hear and see me that I'm happy, and they can hear that smile and see that smile.
1,000%. Yeah. Yeah. In fact, we used to, when I first got into the mortgage business, I was trained to have a mirror and a little postcard on the bottom of it, that I looked at when I was on the
that's a
phone,
good
and
idea.
it said smile
Yeah.
on the postcard, and I had to look at myself and smile because it's contagious.
It is.
Even if they can't see you,
Right.
they can,
You can hear it in the tone
they
of
can hear
voice.
their voice,
Yeah.
right? Just your tonality changes.
Right.
So, I mean, that's a rider downer, folks. Okay, another one. Always, always, always smile. People can feel your personality and your tonality. Even if you're having a bad day, which gets me to another point, Gary. You make these calls every day?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Well, I wouldn't say every day. I wouldn't say there's days I take off. Okay, I don't do it 7 days, but I do it at least 5-6 days a week. Yes.
Okay. And so when you do wake up occasionally and it's like, God, today's not my day on the phone. Do you give yourself a break, or do you force yourself to go out there and make those phone calls?
I force myself to do the phone calls and waiting for the one positive call that keeps you going for more, okay?
Right.
So, it's definitely like if I make 20, 30 calls in a row and nothing, click, 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 or whatever, but I'm hoping in that early part when I'm not as excited that I can get that first call going, because once you get the phone call and you start having that dialogue that's positive, it's like a drug. It's just like, bring it on. And then when you ultimately win them over and take them eventually to close, it's like, it's the greatest feeling from start to finish.
Right.
But it's a long process.
Yeah.
But I would tell you that my attitude today is I'm going to outlast all of the agents out there. That's my mindset. I'm going to be the number one. I'm going to outlast anybody when it comes to phone. And I'm going to outstyle them, okay? And the style means how I'm going to build the rapport. And I know I still have a long ways to go to be better on that, because that still needs work.
He's been watching those Will Smith videos on YouTube, right? I'll die on the treadmill before I get off before you do, right? That kind of thing.
No, he's very determined.
Yeah, that's great. Now I know you're a Tony Robbins fan to some degree, right? You've seen Tony.
I was a firewalker.
Yeah, you were a firewalker. That's right. I remember. Tony has a routine that he does before he goes on stage, right? And it's how he gets in state. In fact, I've heard him tell that he has a little trampoline backstage,
Right.
and he jumps up and down on it and he makes his moves. What do you do? Do you do anything unique or specific, Gary, before you go jump in your saddle?
Yeah, I basically, before I get in my chair, I do some movement to get going, movement, but I also is more in my mindset, okay? I'm getting my mind more motivated and generated to go, and how I'm going to have the conversation, and knowing that how many leads am I going to get today? What's my goal? And when am I going to shut it down after I get so many leads? And once I get to my goal, I said, oh wow, let's just keep going for a little more.
I love that. So once you hit your desired number of contacts or listing appointments, and you still got time left, you still make calls.
Yeah.
Okay, I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah. So that's another writer down.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't give up very easily.
Don't stop when you hit your goals during the
But
day.
I've also, I've perfected phase one of the phone call. And I'm just, again, phase one, I got it down. I know it in my sleep, how I make a phone call and initially get somebody on the call and call them and do the whole thing. And now I'm still working on part two.
Okay, all right.
So stay tuned.
Yeah, so I want to get to part two of when you guys do a listing appointment, because I know, Linda, what you do at the house is make the magic, right?
Right, right.
How do you influence people? How do you build rapport with people so that they begin to know you, like you, trust you, and want to hire you?
It's all about finding something that you have in common. Because I don't go in there, I'm not a hard salesperson. I was always taught, back when I was in high school and started in sales, that's not how you gain, trust with people.
Mm-hmm.
And we go in and we find something that, you have in common with. We've just met a couple that are moving here from Houston, and the gentleman is from Chicago. Well, I'm from Chicago, and there's just a million things to talk about. And his wife, she's raised 2 children. I've raised 2 children, and, we went through this whole process for about an hour and a half the other day. And then made the appointment to go out and show her houses, and spent the day in the car with her, teaching her, the Dallas area and stuff. But we talked about common things that we've talked about with our children. Because to me, it's all about the relationship. Everything you do in life is about the relationship, whether it's your spouse, your children, your friends, your clients, your vendors. It's always important. And you can never forget where you came from. So in real estate, I know that we've bought and sold our own personal homes. And how did I feel after I got out of the car? I'll give you an example. It was 106 degrees on Monday. And that's not a fun day to go looking in areas. I have a cooler of water in the car. I asked her, do you want to stop and get a nice tea? And because I remember real estate agents not doing that with me. And it's those little things that I never forgot where I came from, what it's like to look for a house and the
Right.
stress of it. She's trying to get a home ready in another state now to move here, and it's all on her because he works so many hours and she has her job. And so you've got to really understand the mindset of your client and make it a relationship.
So it really is about that outrageous hospitality.
Right.
It's winning that client through the experience.
Right. My experience with a client, I want to overcome their objections before it is an objection. So I want to get in their head and explain to them what their next step is before they have to ask me the next step.
Got it.
And we have that down really well.
Yeah, and I would say that interjecting that in this example is that I don't think we talked about real estate until about 40 minutes at being there.
Uh-huh.
It was just
Probably, yeah.
really understanding where they are, where they're coming from, and having conversation. And then we had just subtly brought in real estate after 40 minutes of this rapport.
Sure.
And
That's important.
she's the star about that. She's much better at that because she works a room. And see, I have challenges with certain personalities that are more quiet, more timid. I don't know how to break the ice as well as she does. That's when I know on conversations that, Linda, you need to take it over, because when I start doing my probing and they're just laid back, I don't know how to get them out of their shell as well as she does.
Right. Yours is to go grab a 16-pound sledgehammer and hit them
Right,
on the head and
right.
say, hey, are you listening to me? Right? Yeah. No, it's because you're high D, and I would imagine you're pretty high S.
Right. And it's
Linda.
interesting, like I took my retail background in sales, but when I first started in this business, I didn't want to go to my friends. I didn't want to be that person like, the Mary Kay cosmetic person that you just see her coming kind of thing. She could talk to me about real estate.
Right.
And I did open houses. And so I would treat it like it was a party and you were coming into my house, and you get people who just didn't want to talk to you. And my goal was to get them to talk to me.
Sure.
I would come up with anything to try to work them as they came through the house, and I usually won that. There's something that you can get to talk to them about.
So open houses these days, is there anything that you guys do differently than most real estate agents do?
Yeah, she does them all.
She does them all?
Yeah, open house is not my cup of tea.
No? Okay.
I'm not good at it.
Okay.
It's like I said, breaking the ice and getting people that are shy or put up a wall. Open house, they think they're not supposed to talk to a realtor. They just want to walk the house.
Right.
I love open houses. It's one of my favorite things to do because one, I get to talk, and I like to talk. But I really, we do the whole, the signs. I have the big feather flags in front, and we make it like an event. And but just having those conversations with people, I never really talk about the house. It's about building the relationship with them. And one of our last listings that was in Frisco, met a couple that came in, and again, they were from Chicago, and they had a realtor. And we just started talking about Chicago things, and they loved the house. And I said, have your realtor call me if they want to make an offer and stuff like that. And maybe 5 weeks later, they called Gary. They found Gary's phone number and said, we want Linda to help us find a house because of the way she was in the open house. So that I sold them a house now, and now their son just got engaged, and I'm selling them a house. So it was one sale that now has turned into 3 sales for us.
I think it would be fair to say that you must have a really good bedside manner, like a doctor, that just listens and asks the right questions.
Yeah, it's all about listening.
Yeah, it is all about listening. And but the way you get good things to listen to is by asking the right questions.
Right.
Yes.
Do you guys just have things that you would normally want to bring up, questions you would ask when you meet people? What are some of the things that you ask people when you first meet them?
Well, you ask them where they're from, do they have children? You start talking about food. Food is a great international language with people, and we're big foodies. Questions like that kind of break the ice with people. Or do you like to cook? Helps you like, well, what kind of kitchen do you like? Or I like this cooktop because it's, you can cook a big pot of pasta on it. It's, those type of questions are important. And that's how we break the ice.
And also, what kind of expectations are they looking for in a realtor? What are you looking for? Because most of them say, well, if I want to buy a house, I need you to help me find the house, okay? But once you find the house, you got to help me win the offer, especially in this multiple situation that's happening currently. And we know how to work the network and the conversation of getting and winning multiple offers. I would tell you that our closing percentage in multiple offers is really high, okay? Or we tell the client says, let's just pass, it's too rich. But we give them great guidance how to win. And So we don't have a problem in a multi situation. We know how to win as long as the client understands the situation and everything. We properly prep them that.
And you have to properly
Right.
prep them.
Yeah, it's a
Yes.
lot of explaining before that.
It sure is. They don't understand all the addenda. They don't
Yes.
know what all the stuff
I mean,
means.
these are big financial decisions that people are doing, and we do this every day, but, someone might only buy 2 or 3 houses in a lifetime.
Right.
And it surprises me how they don't really trust the person that they're letting do this. Like, what
Yeah.
qualifications do they have? And, explaining everything in details. Because you can work with some very smart, intelligent people, but they don't know real estate.
Yeah. Clients have to be a good fit for us as well. Not
That's true.
only do you have to be a good fit for them, but they really need to fit well with you too. How do you handle clients that aren't such a great fit?
Well,
You
with
want me to
us,
say that?
Yeah, well, no, with us, what works is that if they're not a fit for one of us, they might feel more comfortable with the other one of us.
Okay.
And we've had some situations like that.
She's never given me any.
Oh, okay. Just for the record, put that in, Gary. It's in your permanent record now, Linda. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say it's more my personality is a little, I can pick up when the rapport's not happening. And I just know that there's certain times that Linda comes to the rescue and she takes it to the finish line. And I know for sure I would have fired the client. And she took it into a positive that a couple of them, we've been to their Christmas parties annually and everything. So we've got a great rapport, but I know my role and strengths, and that's her biggest strengths. When we have I've never heard her say, "Oh, I can't handle this client, you take over, Gary." It's just the opposite usually.
I don't do well with the word no, and I think it's important if something's broken, I'm going to fix it. I've never been one of those people that say, "Oh, I can't do this, I'm going to let you handle that." No matter what the situation is, so I apply that to my real estate as well.
Yeah.
I'll figure out a way to
But
make
I'm
it work.
jumping in. I have some great rapports with my clients.
He does.
Oh, I bet.
I
I'm
really
sure.
do.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
No, I know. We love you guys equally. I mean, we have great rapport with each of you as well as both of you.
However, on this last listing that we had, our clients, he even said this to us. He goes, "We love the idea of having both of you." He goes, "I know that I'm not going to ask Gary about the paint color of what you wanted me to paint my kitchen ceiling." But, he'll go to Gary about some other questions. So
Sure.
he definitely said he learned who to go to what for. And he would call me some days and he'd call Gary some days, which was great.
Yeah. Now, you guys, you've got a very nice business at a nice price point, great clients. Occasionally, and again, not to disparage anybody here, but sometimes we get agents on the other side of a transaction that aren't always as skilled up as we are and always as enthusiastic about helping toward getting the deal done and sort of thing. What advice do you have to people in our audience today who come across agents who are difficult to work with?
Well, it's just another relationship that you need to work. Again, you're going back to how important those are. And you have to explain to them. I had an agent that just wasn't calling me back on the repairs, and we needed a lot of repairs. And I just asked him, I said, at the end of the day, you and I have the same objective here. I want to buy the house for my clients and you want to sell it. So we have to work as a team and have that conversation with them. And if you get an agent maybe doesn't know a lot of things, it's worth explaining, well, this is how I would do it, not to step on your toes, and try to work it like that, because the outcome is you want the deal for your client, whether what side of the desk you're on.
Yeah. Gary, you agree with that?
Yeah,
or-
totally. You got to convince them it's a win-win situation for both of us. We both want to get to the finish line, okay?
Right.
And that's really explaining, here's my needs, what are your sellers or the opposite your clients need, and we just merge together and having that rapport.
Yeah, and we don't know what's going on in that agent's life either.
Right,
I mean,
right.
and they could have one of those clients from hell, that just is really, really difficult to work with, and you just don't know that. But it is always better to be, to work together toward because. The longer we're in this business, the smaller the world gets,
Oh, it
right?
does.
And you're going to come across agents again, time and time again, out in the field. So it's best to have a good reputation among other agents, isn't it? Then
Yeah, and not talk down to them. Try to find out their level and try to get on their level and start explaining it that they feel like I'm not forcing the situation. Let's just go through that conversation to overcome it.
Right.
Now, I know you guys are big on mindset and attitude and so forth. What advice would you have for members of our audience today who are in this market and they're struggling? They're in a rut. They just can't seem to get traction. They're getting frustrated, and maybe they're even considering leaving the business. What advice would you have for them?
I think that you have to focus on the basics. You have to find out, like, try to go do some open houses. You know, do some things that maybe go get some more continuing education. Look at the advantage of the market that maybe it is a little slower for you. Go take some more courses. Go out and learn who the builders are. Go out and learn, you know, the different areas so that you can become an expert in that. So use it to hone your skill, because then when you get busy, you won't have time to do that. And then you can recall all of that. I think that's important.
Okay. Gary, what do you think is some good advice?
Well, first of all, the advice I'd first say is that if you're not 100% all in, get out of the business. That's the first thing I would tell you. So if you're a part-timer, either get in or get out. Okay, you got to go all in to be a professional, because this is a professional business, and you need to act like a professional, not a part-timer. So that would be the first advice I would say. Are you committed and want to get in or not? And then I would say is that you have to have a structure. You have to structure your week and day and monitor what you've done and what you didn't do based on your structure. I'm a guy that carves out on my calendar how many hours I'm doing for, I call it power calling, okay, that I carve out in the day, and then I leave open for other things that I have to do with clients and follow up. But I have structure, and then when I go to bed, before I go to bed, I start looking at tomorrow's business. What am I supposed to be doing? What is my schedule for tomorrow? And sometimes I actually say, oh, I got to have a meeting at 3 o'clock. I set my alarm clock for certain appointments. Like for today, I knew I had to be at 11 o'clock. We're leaving to go here. I set my alarm clock the night before to have an alarm so I don't miss those important kind of things. So I'm very structured on what I do, and I monitor that structure. And I think that, and I would tell you that I wasn't disciplined in the early stages. Of where I am today, or in the last 90, 120 days, is so dramatically different than where I was last year. So I said, you have to have the mindset, and then you have to structure, and then you have to monitor the structure. And then ultimately what I'm doing now is, in that structure and time you're spending, what's the return? Because some things that I'm doing is, oh, I should have farmed that out to somebody else to do, like a transaction coordinator, because your time is worth so much money. Are you a $20 an hour person, or are you a $200 an hour person? And I want to think that I'm more than a $200 an hour person. So what I'm doing and analyzing every time, every hour, should I be doing it or somebody else should be doing it?
Mm-hmm. That's a great point. Another writer downer, friends out there.
Leverage.
Yeah. So how have you leveraged your business? You mentioned transaction coordinator. Do you guys have a full-time assistant as well?
Not yet. We don't need one yet. Okay. But we know
We're
that's a matter of time for that. And we also know that we're already planning on when we're going to want a realtor under us.
Right.
Based on our business.
All right.
That's our plan.
So what is your, just describe to us in just a brief way here, because we're just about to run out of time. I hate to say that, but what does your perfect day look like? And let's start with Gary, and then I want to see what Linda's perfect day looks like.
This is Gary's strength. This is not a strength of mine.
Okay.
And I think that comes from his corporate. You know, I ran department stores, so I was on the ground in the stores. He came from corporate office, and he's very structured, and I need to do more of what he does in that sense.
So what do you do? What time do you get up? What do you do when you get up? Tell us about your perfect day, Gary.
Well, my perfect day, I wake up at 7, and I'm at the gym at 8 o'clock, Monday through Friday, and I get home at 10 o'clock, and I instantly have the yogurt, and I'm sitting at my desk by 10:15, and I'm hunkered down till 6:30, 7 o'clock. Okay, whether I'm doing power calling, or I'm actually going out and showing clients, or I'm going to closings, or I'm getting education on what's happening in the market. I'm researching and understanding the trends and watching certain videos and understanding what's happening in the market. So I would say that my power calling, first of all, going to the gym, okay, taking care of my body, because I want to live long and prosper, and, you know, and so I feel good. I feel guilty if I miss going to the gym Monday through Fridays, okay? So, and my power calling, how many calls I'm going to make a day, and that's probably a minimum of 75 to 150 calls a day. Depends on how long. Sometimes it's less because sometimes I have a call for 40 minutes, building a great rapport that it messes up the quantity, but the quality is all that matters ultimately.
Sure.
And then taking listings and going out and seeing clients.
Okay, that many calls a day. Are you just calling to the phone book? How are you targeting your people you call?
Oh, I'm getting leads from Facebook advertising that I'm doing, and also pay-per-click on Google. Okay. So I'm getting my own advertising of getting leads that are interested in real estate, and then I'm calling them.
Great. Okay, excellent. Wow, that's pretty strong. Do you ever find time for a shower? Is that before or after the gym?
No, that's right after at the gym.
Okay, I just wanted to throw that in. So
That's it.
don't go to the gym and then go show clients' houses, right?
No.
Okay, take a shower in between. Linda, how about your perfect day? What does it look like?
Well, I handle more of the client fluff, I would say, kind of thing. So I get up and I look at what leads Gary has passed over to me. He writes them on a little yellow piece of paper and puts them on my desk now.
Old school.
Old school, but they're in our CRM.
Which
so
is, you guys use follow-up
follow-up.
boss,
Yeah,
right?
so,
Okay.
and he makes me a collaborator. So I always try to get through the calls that he's asked me to get through at some point of the day. But I'm the one, like we have a client now, we closed on our house 2 months ago, and I go out and make sure mail's picked up, those type of things, which, if you look at Gary's way, I should have someone else doing that for me, because my time's too valuable. And then, it's closings and, keeping up with the market, and I'm really working on the new construction. We have a lot of clients.
Yeah.
So I'm spending a lot of time going out and meeting the builders, because builder rapport is really important, and knowing when someone says they want a $600,000 house, where are you going to put them in new construction?
Where are they going?
Yeah, and that takes, you go out to meet the builders, and you start trying to have a rapport with some of these different salespeople, and you could be out, only see 2 builders and be gone for 3 hours.
Yes.
So that's
yeah.
a big part of what I do, and then that's how we feed off each other.
Huge part. And then
Yeah.
you always want to be first on the call list when they have a bust out or something.
Right.
If you've got a
Right.
client looking
Right.
for a house like that, I love getting
Yeah,
those.
and it's nice when you have a client and you can call the sales agent and they take your call,
Yeah.
because they're all busy now too. So that
Yeah.
rapport with them is really good.
Yeah. So, go ahead. Did you want to?
I had a question for Gary.
All right.
When did you have that realization that you needed to make a radical change in your process for your schedule? As far as what led up to the point where you were like, man, enough is enough. I got to rework my entire day to do the production that I'm going to do. When was that?
Well, it happened in December, is when I wasn't getting any more Zillow leads. So I was being spoon-fed Zillow leads the first couple years, and I was doing great on Zillow, and somebody pulled the plug on that. And so I had to reinvent myself and figuring out what am I going to do now that the leads aren't coming. So I reinvented myself.
I love that. That's why you started doing the lead generation through Facebook
Yes,
and through
exactly.
Google.
Okay, so you went from being a goldfish
Right.
to being a shark. Shark, baby shark. What does that song go?
Oh, yeah, I don't know how to sing it.
Yeah.
It'll get stuck in my head tonight.
But that is where, and there are many people in the audience, I would imagine, that probably needed to hear that, because, one of the things about being on a team is, yes, you learn structure, you learn, how to convert leads and so forth, but you get complacent because you really don't have to go out and kill your paycheck, right? Your paycheck comes walking
Right.
toward you. And to be really independent and have a business and do what we encourage people to do, kind of get out of that, out of the house and on your own,
Right.
is doing what you guys have done, which is mastering lead generation and lead conversion and the whole process. And that's what I'm most excited about for you guys. You were the perfect poster children for what I wanted to create with our group, right? Which was helping people come in, spend a couple of years to learn everything they could, and then essentially go off and start your own independent business, which, Linda, you had already done that, but I got the pleasure to spend some good time with your husband
Right.
in the meantime, and to see you guys now together, which I don't know, was that even in the cards?
Well, I don't think
It was
that was
never
in the cards at all.
Yeah.
No.
And then we found out we couldn't have spouses at different brokerages, and so it became a point where, things had happened and it just kind of all worked out.
It's
really
strange,
did. It's
you know.
funny
Yeah.
how God has a way of doing things. But
It is,
Time has a way
and
of
without going
working
into
it out.
details, you had a little bit of a rough start initially when you came over, and you came over without the intention of going to work with Gary.
Exactly.
See, I told you, I knew deep down in my heart that they really should work together.
You know, I think a lot of people saw that before we ever saw that, but I was, never say never. I just wasn't. We came into this business separately, and I was intent, and then the
Yeah.
situation happened, and now it's, it's probably one of the best things that ever happened to us.
Yeah.
now they're inseparable.
So
Yeah, we just spent a lot of time together.
yeah. So how important, and we're going to close with this question.
Okay.
How important is it in this business to always have an open mind?
Extremely. Like, it's got to be the number one.
Not only open mind, you're ready for change, because what you're doing today,
Right.
tomorrow could be totally different.
Right.
Yeah.
But you have to love it
Yeah.
because it's hard. It's a hard business,
It
but
is
it's
hard.
the rewards of it are so good, and it's so much fun.
See, I don't think it's hard. I think it's fun. This is like a hobby almost, but I'm professional at it. But this is not. It was harder when I was in corporate America. I'm now my own boss, and it's unlimited income. We have earned more money in the first 6 months this year than we've ever done in our entire careers annually. And we've already just 6 months. And it's just like we're onto something that's snowballing, and it's just fun.
It's
It-
not, I
it's
didn't mean
just-
hard.
it's-
I meant it's a lot of work.
Well,
Yeah.
I want to ask before we round out here, how do you guys manage the marriage and business? Is there a lot of congruency between
What's the
the
pillow
two?
talk?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, our children have this thing that when they're grown, but when we're together with them, they're like, okay, no real estate talk. And so that's okay. And then it comes a point in the evening where it's like, okay, we've kind of wrapped up the day, or we talk about tomorrow, and then it's like, okay, let's talk about something else.
She turns it off faster than me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm more
'Cause
wound
I need
tighter.
Right,
he's wound
right.
very tight. I need
Yeah.
to rest my brain a bit.
Yeah. All right. Any last nuggets before we sign off here for young, aspiring people in the real estate business out there wanting to emulate your path?
Well, the keys to it are relationships. You're not selling houses, you're building relationships.
Okay.
Would be my
Gary,
my
what
key.
would
I
you say?
I would tell anybody that's getting going is find a mentor that's successful, and listen, shadow them, and just ask lots of questions.
Yeah.
Shadow the people that are successful and ask probing questions, and don't be shy to ask the questions thinking like it's a stupid question.
No question's
Just ask the questions so when you walk away, you get it, you understand.
Yeah, and you guys have always been very generous with other people and helping. If there's somebody in our audience that wanted to reach out to you and just have maybe a conversation with
we'd
you
love to do that.
about real estate, maybe even about EXP, what's the best way to get a hold of you guys?
Call us, email us, text us. We're very open. We always answer the phone.
Okay.
But, yeah, we would both love that.
What's the best number for you guys?
You can call me 972-469-1055.
You have 2 area codes in your phone number.
Thank you. Yeah, we
Yeah,
intentionally
they
did
Makes
that.
it
both
easy.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One more time, 972
972-469-1055.
1055.
1055.
That's easy.
Gary and Linda Bale, two of
Thank
my
you, Cliff.
favorite people
Really
in the world.
appreciate you having
Yes.
us on, and
C3.
Always a joy.
Man.
Thank you for
What a
you're
pleasure.
the one that reached out to them to
Yes,
ask
sir.
them on the show. I'm so glad we had the opportunity to have you guys back on. Linda, you the first time, but Gary, it's great to see you. We were in the studio across the way, I believe, maybe the last time you were here.
Yes.
But we are excited to follow your paths and ask that if we
you.
could maybe do a 6-month checkup from the neck up with you guys
love to.
later.
Yeah.
love
Catch up with you maybe toward the end of the year and
That'd be
see how
great.
things are going. We'd love to do that.
That'd be great.
All right,
Love being on the
awesome.
show. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, late C3, great show, man. Thank you.
Hey, let's do it.
Let's do it, yeah.
Just do it.
Just do it. Just do it. That's
Yes,
it.
sir.
I've heard
All
that
right.
before.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for being here. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be here either. We're going to send you much love from Lincoln Center, Jeff Crilley Studios, PR Newswire. If you're looking for a place to cut content for a podcast, this is the place. We can tell you how to get here. But in the meantime, you guys have an awesome, awesome, awesome rest of your week. Stay cool, and we'll see you next week right here on Cliff's Notes. So tune in every Thursday where we'll give you the tips, tricks, and tactics to explode your business. I guarantee.